fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey everybody, welcome back. Today, taking a look at Fleet Commander Sloan, and I'm doing this now because I'm doing it about the time a lot of people are starting to unlock him completely free to play, including myself. I just unlocked him this past weekend. And you could actually argue that I'm a little bit later than the rest of the crowd, but actually that makes me a little bit more normal maybe to our casual viewers. In fact, if you're watching now, let me know in the comments. We're going to have several different debates, but let me know in the comments if you have unlocked Fleet Commander Sloan, because I do believe he's one of, if not the best fleet commander in the game right now. Now, I know it's a very bold statement, but one of my favorite things about him is that he's completely free to playable. Get him now, use him, take advantage of him, and we're going to talk about how you can procure him in STFC and what he can benefit with you in today's video. So if you enjoy it, good. If not, well, enjoy it anyway, because life is short, and if you're going to spend the 8-9 minutes it is in this video, you might as well enjoy it. So let's head over to the Section 31 faction. This is where you can unlock Fleet Commander Sloan. Now, obviously, I've unlocked it. You can't see the little redeem, so I'll put what the redeem looks like in much bigger fashion here on the screen. I think he's a relatively cheap acquisition, and I understand that that is a relative statement. Now, you can start working on him as soon as you can start doing waves, which is Ops 30 plus, but obviously the ability to create and complete waves is very difficult. You need an alliance that's willing to help you, or you may not be able to get a lot of those shards a day. But I would say this, if people are curious, like, hey, what's the primary thing we should get from this store? Sloan and the free Dolomite drips are number one. Now, you clearly will need to increase your rep, things like that, to get access to different things. But even with these PvP officers, the Syndicate XP, the Talios Enigma refit, which you can see that I'm going after, Sloan is right up there, number one, with the free Dolomite drip, which I do love the Dolomite drip. I've actually started collecting primes for that already. But specifically, Sloan, and I want to talk about why. Before we do that, I do want to kind of give a shout out to Scopely, because they actually went lore friendly with this one. It's rare. You never see lore, but Sloan's actually from Deep Space Nine, which in my opinion is probably the best Star Trek of all time, depending on the year I flip between the Next Generation and DS9. But if Strange New Worlds keeps up and can go about 5 or 6 seasons, it'll probably take the number one spot. But if you want to start that debate down below, feel free. I'll gladly get into a debate about DS9. I just love it, but I also love TNG. But Sloan is from DS9, working with Section 31, thus him getting into our game here today. Now, one other thing to note here is that to get skill points for Sloan, you actually use Fleet Commander stuff as well. Do keep in mind that when you level up a Fleet Commander, you get skill points from leveling them up. But if you're having to rely on just this is actually probably the stingiest part of the Fleet Commander Sloan drip. And we're talking about what's bad for free to play. That one may be like the one negative here, but the good is he's good. Now, for those who don't remember, to get your Fleet Commander slots unlocked, the first one you just basically build the building. Then you got to get Command Center 40 to get the second one for free. To get the third one for free, you got to get to Syndicate 40. And then finally, that fourth one you get by purchasing. Currently, that's the only way. So many of you who are watching may only have 1 or 2 slots. So you have to debate, where is the value here? Kirk has a lot of good stuff. We've covered him before in the past, but for example, his impulse speed is something that most people are going to not want to take down, just because you got to get places and you want to get there pretty quickly. But let's talk about what Sloan has value-wise. And I'd also say this, in terms of overall, best fleet commander in the game, maybe. I mean, he's right up there with Kirk, and Spock's also very good. But as you can see, myself and a lot of others have slotted Sloan as their number 2. Let's talk about as to why. So again, as you work on leveling him up, you see I've taken him up semi-far in terms of the promotion. And then every time you hit the level up button, you are going to get different, bonuses. So like if I go over here and I hit bam with Spock, see I get SP for Spock. Same thing works for Sloan. So as you go through that process, you might want to do that, because just relying on the Section 31 tree is a real pain in the keister. So let's talk about what makes him so good. So let's start with the Tactician tree, Warrior Mechanic, and then Escapist. You start off with a pretty decent one. Again, how high you can take this is based on what level you are, etc., but still valuable. Base piercing stats, not super exciting, and this honestly more affects our free-to-play and our light players, our low-level players, than high levels, but still good. But then you get to an immediate good one, in my opinion, which is Isolated Intel, giving all your ships isolated damage, which is going to make it easier to do everything, whether you're Ops 30 or Ops 50, and all of this adds up. And this is for all ships. You see, I've currently got an 8% bonus, making those new Gorn hostiles even easier. You also have this one, which is the hidden cash, increasing max cargo, which is good. I just haven't invested in it because I have other things to invest in first priority wise. Now, I will say I have purposely skipped this one, which is the crit chance one, because I have amazing Armada crit officers like, you know, Benjamin Sisko, and you can even use Khan. I mean, I've got ways to create criticals, but you have non-Armada hostiles for crits, and then you have this one right here, crit chance against group. These are selectable, so you can only run one of those. And then down here, increases combat scavenger ability. That is actually for the amalgam. This is improving your amalgam's effectiveness, which is really nice. Again, this is probably only useful though for hardcore PvPers and those who are really into incursions. But if you are one of those folks, I mean, that's very, very good. You want to maybe look into that and add that in. So something to think about. And then the other selectable one is reducing the number of rounds needed to charge weapons when attacking a station. Now that is super neat if you're into base raiding and base cracking. But again, keep in mind, these are selectable. Finally, down at the bottom, you do have to be Command Center 50 and above, and you get increased hostile loot for all ships. Now, this is normal hostile loot. It doesn't work for absolutely everything. For example, nanoprobes and stuff. We tested that with a couple of different officers. Didn't work with Galinar, but still good for base increase. And then your isolated defense. Let's move over to mechanic. That's some of my favorite things for modern gaming, as in like where the game is right now. I really, really like what some of these do. Here's one with increasing base mitigation stats, which is kind of that mirror to what you just had in the combat tree. But look at this one right over here. Increases base forbidden tech cost efficiency for level up. I talked in a video a few weeks ago, the importance of free-to-play, going after things like the Metreon Cascade. This makes that process cheaper. Go down one below, and there's an increase for forbidden tech cost efficiency tier up for the Catalyst. Again, very important. I have a 16% reduction there. Super helpful. Now on the other side, you have the base repair speed boosting, which is great, especially for those players who are watching who are in the 50s and going to the 60s. That's going to help out significantly, as well as with the cost reduction. But you see, for me, I'm prioritizing other things. First, continuing down the left side, cost efficiency for Rhodinium particles. That is for your Galaxy Tree extension, where a lot of those researchers want Rhodinium. But still good. Then the 51 is cost efficiency on Cosmic particles, which is nice for later on. Back on the right side, an always on is Black Ops Shield, meaning your ships get a shield boost everywhere. That's a fantastic one. More power. Yay. Then you get right here, increased loot from Dominion Solar Armadas. As you can see, I've invested a little bit into that, just so I don't have to grind that as much. And then last but not least, we've got whole health for all ships. You've got to get to CC 50 and above, but more health is better health, right? More is more. Finally, Escapist, not to be left out. All three of Sloan's trees are very good. You've got this one right here, which is increasing protected cargo, which is great, especially if you are like anti-Rev Deuce. You don't like pirating. You don't want to go out there and be bothered. Well, this helps prevent you from being OPC as soon as you might normally be. Rep grinding. This one I personally love. I am at that stage in the upper 40s, low 50s, where I have to get to 15 billion reps. My next one, that helps out. You see, I'm working on it. You got the next set of selectables. These are actually pretty nifty. Cloak encryption increases your chance of hiding while you're cloaking. That one's more along my alley. Increases the chance of seeing cloaked enemies for those who hate Rev Deuce, which if you do, feel free to comment down below, I hate Rev Deuce, because all interaction is welcome. And then we got reduces opponent's base mitigation, which this one can actually be good as a lower level, not as much as a higher. Next set of selectables, you see how I do the deep cover battleship, but they have the same thing for explorers and interceptors. You can boost one of those ships. Then you get the weapons intel, increasing the base weapons damage. Last, certainly not least, exfiltration increases base warp speed, which again, so nice once you get to a higher level and these warp times get a little wonky. It has a lot of good, what I would call modern Star Trek efficiency with your protomatters, your catalyst, gives you more ISO damage, helps with your rep grinding. I mean, I just think Sloan is an overall very, very good officer or fleet commander. And what makes him even more valuable to me is he's 100% free to playable. But because there's so many grinds in the game, you can maybe forget about what that can provide for you long term. For me, it's huge, right? It's making things like these FTs cheaper to upgrade. There's an event actually going on right now. So I can actually participate in those events, spend on those events, spend like my materials I've saved up and be getting somewhere. I'm actually working on this right now for when I go level 53. And sure, I need 21,000 tier up catalysts, but I've already saved a significant percentage there. And yes, that will take a time to get to, but I'm still getting a lot of value thanks to Sloan being there and that's really helped me out. Also makes the Patreon Cascade cheaper if I want to take it up another level. That was about 26,000 before, or 27,000. Now it's down to 23. You can see all those stats in STFC.space. So Fleet Commander Sloan, in my opinion, is one of, if not maybe the best fleet commander in the game. If he's not the best, he's very, very good. He's right there around that number 2 spot. So if you are out there, level 30 and above, you want to start working towards him. Work with your alliance. If you're an alliance leader out there, I would strongly encourage working together as a group to get everybody to have Sloan, because it's going to make your group better. It's going to make their lives in the game better, and it's more fun, as well as giving you a reason to do the waves. Besides the fact of just doing them, gives you a reason to go after them. And yeah, what can I say? I love the fact that this is something that can impact everybody. In today's game that feels like all the content is for later on, this is a piece of content that you can actually go after now that actually helps. Now, really nice. You just got to go through the process of, you know, unlocking him, which is 100 days. A little over 3 months. We're right around 3 months. Got to get to it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Live long and plunder. Stay safe with their space cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you in the next Star Trek Fleet Command video, where we'll go over more things like lore. All right, that's it. I'm out.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.